Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a new type of video that I'm going to be calling the fundamentals video. This will be the fundamentals around building miniatures, specifically plastic models in this video. Building plastic models is a little different than building, say, resin models or metal models, and if it comes to that and people want it, I can do a video on those as well. Here in front of me I have the layout of all the types of tools I like to use when I'm building models. We have all the different blades, pin vices, clippers, types of glue. We're going to just start with some simple tweezers. These are handy if you're trying to get at a really hard to reach area with fat fingers like mine, or putting things on bases on finished models like tufts or things like that. So next up we have the pin vise. The pin vise is a micro drill, essentially, that's done by hand, so you can be very gentle with it. I use this mainly for drilling out gun barrels on plastic models, but it's also useful for making pin points, where you're literally drilling two holes from two different parts and using a metal paper clip to act as additional support. We don't use it too much anymore for the pinning aspect, unless you're working with metal models or resin models. Usually the plastic glue holds things together quite well and you don't need to do any pinning anymore. So yeah, I really like this tool mainly for doing gun barrels. Next up is the trusty blade. This is the X-Acto knife. Some people like to have two different types of X-Acto knives, one dull and one sharp. I believe this one here is a little bit duller. The tip's kind of missing. I have my sharp one off camera, but I mainly use this one for scraping mold lines, or getting at really, really hard to clip areas on sprues when we're getting our bits off, which kind of leads me to the next tool, which is going to be the clippers. These are flat-edged clippers. You'll see one side is completely flat here. This is great for getting really close to models' connection points and clipping them off. This is just, I think, a Tamiya brand, but everybody makes flat edge clippers that are in the modeling game. So let's talk a bit about the super glues and cement glues. This is Gorilla Glue. This is my preferred type of super glue. It's the blue cap. This is the gel. I don't really like the liquid because it can get everywhere and cause a lot of problems, but this also has a little bit of flex to it once it's dry. Not much, but a little bit. That's what they claim anyway. I found this to be a great glue. I've used it maybe for like 8 or 9 years now and don't really have any regrets about it. So yeah, one with the blue cap. Grab that one. And next up, we'll grab our plastic cement here. This is mainly what I use now. This is Tamiya extra thin cement. There's a couple different types of plastic glues. There's like a gel type plastic glue, and then there's this kind that I love because it actually works by capillary action. This actually will fuse plastic models together, so it won't work on resin or metal, obviously, but don't make that mistake. A lot of people, including myself, make that mistake at the beginning, but this stuff's great. I also use it for helping to clean up mold lines, and I'll show you how I do that after, but definitely grab this stuff. And then we have our zip kicker. It's called zip kicker, kind of like people call band-aids band-aids. It's the brand name, but this is an accelerator. What it does is you spray it on super glue and it makes it instantly cure. So one thing to know about this is it will actually cause the super glue to expand ever so slightly, just slightly. So if you have two things that are flush and you don't want a space between them, just let it dry naturally. It also does cause the super glue to break down a little bit over time, so just be aware of that. I don't use it usually for main assembly, but I will use it to hold two parts together quickly that I need so I can get on with the build. But yeah, so if you need it, grab this stuff. It's handy to have in a pinch. So anyway, those are the basic tools. So let's go on to chopping a model out. So whenever I'm building a model, I'll always have the instructions handy. It just makes building the model easier. Some kits look like they're going to go pretty simply, but just follow the instructions on GW kits. Sometimes they do some weird stuff that doesn't make sense, but if you follow the instructions, it does. So yeah, so first thing, I'm going to pick out the model I want to build. GW numbers their stuff, so you see 41, 42, 43 here. On the sprues, though, they may not be in the same spot, so just be careful, look around the sprues, find which model you want to do, get all the bits chopped out, and then build it together. So I do this model by model in case I get called away and I have to, come back to the work later. You don't have bits from 6 different models laying around. You can't remember where they came from. So this is going to be number 17. We're going to cut out the Gauss Reaper, so when I want to build on it. And just note here, you see these 2 symbols. This means that there's options, and there's option A, option B here. So make sure you're chopping out the right ones. And over here, you'll see too, they have 2 different head options. So we're just going to make sure we grab the head that we want. And yeah, we're going to go grab our clippers, and let's clip out 42, 43B, 41B, and get them all put together. So we're going to take our clippers, and we're going to go to the connection point. Let's see here, grab our trusty clippers, flat end towards the model, always flat end towards the model. This will prevent you from clipping off any bits. So here's 41, so let's get our clippers, and you put it flush against the model, clip, done. All right, we'll move on to all the connection points, get in there, clip, done, and here, clip, done. Now one thing to notice here, see this little nub that's sticking off on the model? Be careful when you're clipping, that actually helps connect it to the base even though it doesn't look like part of the model, so just reference the instructions if you are unsure if it's supposed to be on the model or not. So let's clip off the last bit here, clip, and it falls out. Now one thing to know, always keep this sprue over the table. If you're clipping small bits out and they fall, this will prevent you from looking around on the floor for that bit for hours, as I have done in my hobby career. So I'm going to go ahead and clip out the rest of this model, and then we'll come back and show you how I clean off all the mold lines. Alright, so for new players, what exactly is a mold line? So a mold line, as you can see here, is a bit of plastic that runs along where the mold meets. So for injection plastics, they take 2 molds, basically 2 halves of molds, squish it together, fill it with plastic, and where the 2 molds meet, you get this line where extra plastic is extruded. So for a lot of new players, this can be pretty easy to miss. But when you're using new techniques as a new hobbyist, like washes and dry brushes, these things show up like a sore thumb. So always remove them, and it'll make your life easier down the road, and it will make a mediocre model look much better. So let's take our blade and get to cleaning this sucker here. So we're going to take our X-Acto knife, right? Now, with the X-Acto knife, you want to hold it perpendicular. X-Acto knife, hold it perpendicular, and use a scraping motion to scrape off this line, just like this. Okay, see that line disappear? And we're going to make sure that we go all over the model around these mold lines. If you're trying to save time, you can just do the top of the model where the dry brushes and stuff are, but it's a good habit to get into, removing all these. Never cut like this. You will take gouges out of the model. The only time you're allowed to cut like that is when you're just chopping off the remainder of the connection points like so. And what you'll do is get most of it gone, and then once you're almost flush, go back to scraping and scrape it flush, and then you'll have no issues. And there you go. So now I'm just going to work my way around the model, hitting all these mold lines, and then I'll show you how I put the finishing touches on this at the end. And now with some guns, to add a little bit of realism, we'll drill out the gun barrels. I drill out the gun barrels on all my models. I just think it adds a little nice touch to it. It's not as hard as many people may think. You need an X-Acto knife to help start some guide holes, which we'll do right now. So you're going to take your X-Acto knife and you're going to push it ever so carefully. Don't stab yourself in the finger. Also done that many times. And just twist it a little bit. This is going to help you make your guide hole for your pin vise so that it doesn't go off track and either cleave out half the barrel or break the model as you're drilling it. So bottom guide hole's done there. See there, you see it. And now we're going to go to the top one, and we're going to hit that. There you go. Drill it out. And now we have our 2 guide holes, as you can see. So we'll grab our pin vise. Now we're going to take the pin vise and just deepen those guide holes to get your barrels. So go a couple spins here. Spin, 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 spin. That looks pretty good. Second one, spin, 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 spin. Let's see how it looks. It looks like the top one's a little bit deeper than the bottom, so we're going to hit the bottom a little bit more just to get them equal. Let's see, there we go. And now the secret sauce here for drilling gun barrels, take that Tamiya cement and just add a tiny, tiny bit to the tip of each barrel, and it will clean up all those shavings, and it will make that gun barrel look nice and normal, like it was actually mold injected. So let's build this model. This model is actually what's called a push fit kit. You'll see it has pegs here that actually push together to hold the model together without any type of glue or adhesive. These are one of the types of kits you can get. There's also multi-part kits which you can assemble in different poses, but the downside to the multi-part kits is you need an adhesive to keep them together. So I glue all my models, even if they're push fit, I glue them with this plastic glue. So let's grab some of these bits and I'll show you how the push fit kits work. So you're going to take these two bits and just literally push them together. So I'll try here. I think I actually don't line it up properly. Yep, it's a little bit difficult. So if you look, there's a flat piece to the kit and a flat piece to the hole. You just push those together, boom, push it in, boom, done. One thing to be careful of is you see this little white area, that means the plastic is starting to rip or tear, so just be careful if you're pushing and you see that, stop, back off, maybe grab a tool to help push it in. But now let's go ahead and just build this whole model. Alright, and here's the model all assembled and push fit together. We are going to grab our Tamiya glue here and use it to fuse all the parts of the model together. So this stuff works by capillary action, so you'll put it between two areas that are touching and it will melt them together. It'll get sucked up right into the area. So here, see it, boom, gets sucked up into the area between the foot and the base, and it will actually fuse those two points together, and that ankle joint will now break before the actual foot does. Now one thing here you'll see is this foot isn't quite touching the base, and this is where sometimes you may want to use super glue. I use it specifically on the base just to help a foot hold down like that, because the plastic glue does take some time to set. You'll see me kind of struggle with this, but we'll take this and hit the other areas, all the joint areas, boom, boom. This will help melt those areas together, get the head there. So any area you push together, just hit it with glue. I think I reached behind the gun here, sorry, took it off camera. And you'll see that foot pop back up again, and it's just not wanting to stay down. So sometimes if you get glue on an area that won't stay and you push it down pretty hard, the two areas will actually melt. Just be careful with your finger, because if there is glue on a surface area, it will leave a big fingerprint on it. So because the surfaces will be melted, so just be careful about that. So now I'm going to show you. There you go. I'm going to push this down pretty hard. Let's see if we get it on camera. Push it down, and the two areas have actually melted together, so it'll hold. So now what I'm going to do is take the Tamiya, and we're going to run it anywhere there were mold lines or remaining mold lines that I may have missed, and it will actually melt those mold lines flat, and it will leave the detail on the model, and it will give it a very nice finish. Looks almost like it was supposed to be that way from the original plastic kit. And this is a tip I've learned from scale modelers. Works fantastic. Just be careful not to get it into areas that have a lot of details, because it will melt them a little flat. But if you get it on an area that you don't want it, just blow on it quickly. It'll evaporate, and then don't touch that area. The plastic should stay kind of where it is. And I'll just go around. I'll hit all these areas just to get it ready for paint. And you'll see there's a little connection point there. Helps melt it flat. Any areas that you may have missed or have an uneven surface, you can hit with this stuff. Works great. And just a little bit there on the end of the gun wires and on the inner thigh, and here we have it. The model is now ready to be based and primed. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any other fundamentals you'd like to hear about, please leave it down below, and I hope you enjoyed.